Hello. Do nothing and attract everything is the title of today's video. So, are you tired of working hard day after day? Would you like to have more time at your disposal to do the things that you want to do, or simply to do nothing and relax, but know with certainty that life was actually going to get better for you because you were going to attract better results in doing less? Well, if that's interesting to you, you may think that, that's too good to be true, but it isn't. That's actually how it works. The less you do, the more you attract. And the reason why is that, action is never required to manifest. It's not. You can use action, but it's not required. And in fact, action more often than not gets in the way of manifestation. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about doing less and prove to you why doing less actually will enable you to manifest more and to get the things that you want. So as you guys are coming in, please go ahead and like the video. That, of course, helps the algorithm. And as you're coming in, say hi. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, because as I'm going along, I'll be answering some of those as per usual. A couple quick hellos here. I see Pieces here, Picket Music, Luis, Annette, Sexy Flexi's here. Opulent Beauty is watching from work. Good for you. Work less. Cowlitz Bill is here. The Focal Project is here. Happy Daisy, thank you so much for the super. I appreciate you. And Happy Daisy asks, why am I so late today? Yes, usually I get here at 11:30 a.m. my time, which is a few hours ago. So today I decided to go a little bit late. So the story behind that, I got a Garmin watch. Do you guys know what these things are? It's like an Apple Watch, but I got a Garmin watch. I like to work out and I wanted something different. And so the Garmin watch has this feature where it tells you what your body battery is. I don't know if I like this feature or not, because it keeps telling me that my body battery is low. And then I start to feel tired and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't just look at that. But anyway, it has these features where it shows like your energy and your energy expenditure. And I noticed that Wednesday and Thursday, I have my strongest workouts back to back. So I go to the gym every day. And then on Thursday, I rush home from the gym and get ready and go straight to the live. And I thought it might make sense to push the live back a little bit so I have a chance to relax and recharge my battery. So we'll see how it goes. This is just a test to see if I'll like it. But that's the answer to that one. But yeah, thanks for saying hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody here. Again, today we're talking about do nothing, attract everything. Do nothing, attract everything. Okay, so let's start with some evidence, because here's the thing. A lot of people may understand this theoretically, that they can manifest without doing anything. But in practice, it can be challenging for people to just let go and let things work out, because they believe that they need to work. They believe they need to take action. And this is a very bad energetic habit so many people have that you got to break. And the way that we break it is by proving to ourselves that it doesn't work and rehearsing that information over and over again so we can relax and let go and just let things work out. So this is a piece of evidence that's in your environment that you will see over and over and over and over. And I want to point it out so that you see it, because when you see it, it's going to register to you, oh, I don't need to do so much. Okay. So the piece of evidence is that in your realities, the people who have the most power and the people who are doing the best at manifesting are also simultaneously the people who move the least. Okay? And you'll see this time and time and time again. So the example that I like to give from time to time has to do with royalty. So when you look into like a kingdom, Okay, way back in the day, kings and queens and nobles and peasants and serfs and all that stuff. The king and the queen had a throne. They just sat there and everybody came to them. They weren't out rushing around. They allowed other people to come to them. If a king or queen was walking, they walked very slowly, very regally. They weren't in a rush. But if you looked at the people of the lower quote unquote stature, so the people with the less money, less assets, less power, and you're looking at the peasants, all of them are running around doing stuff. They're, taking care of the fields, they're raising the animals, they're doing all the work, and they have very little to show for it. Okay, so that's an example of how the person who does less attracts more. Here's one that you can also see this in your homes. If you look back when you were growing up, if you had, not everybody had this. Some people had the one parent home or they didn't have a parent. But if you lived in a two-parent household, so you had mom and dad in the home at the same time, or if you lived in a home where there was multiple generations, the parent that had the most power was the parent who was doing the least. Okay, so I know within my family, my dad had the most power. Okay, so he didn't do a whole heck of a lot around the house. He was usually on the couch. Things just kind of worked out for him. My mom was running around doing everything, and she had less power in the household. Okay, I can see this within my own household. So before I knew about the law of attraction, I used to do it like my mom. So I was running around doing everything. And I kind of became the house slave. I was expected to do everything for everyone. But in learning about the law of attraction, I've really pulled back. I do a lot less in my household. And now I feel more like the queen of the house, where people are doing things for me within the household easily, with me doing less. That, by the way, is a good tip out there for a lot of you moms who, I get a lot of questions from moms who are doing so much work, giving so much, and not understanding why things aren't working out for them. It's because they're doing too much. They're working too hard. Okay. If you look within business, okay, so within a business, kind of like the king and queen example, the person at the top of the business owner, or the people in the C-suite, they're not the ones racing around. They may be taking meetings, they may be doing some stuff, but they tend to be moving a little bit slower. They tend to be delegating a lot of work away. So they get ideas and they just have the people, quote unquote, beneath them execute it. So that's something to understand, is that there's this misconception that if you just work more, if you put in more hours, if you try harder, that's going to attract more to you. But it's actually the opposite, because the people who are doing less and hanging back, moving less, are the people who attract more power, more resources, more wealth, and more abundance. Okay, so it's a really great piece of evidence that I want you guys to look at and notice in your environment. When you see people that are attracting lots of stuff and who have lots of stuff, notice that those people are moving a lot less than the people around them, because that will reinforce to you that you can do nothing and attract the things that you want, because that's actually how it works very frequently for most people. Okay. It's nice to see everyone on Instagram again. It didn't work for me last week for some reason. I am Lily Rain says, "Hi Andrea. I have an online business that isn't doing well, but people give me money. I feel bad for not earning, but I like my work. Also afraid that money will stop coming in and I'll be in trouble. Thoughts, please." Okay. So this is a question I get a lot, where I'm getting money one way, but I want it another way. Okay, so I have a business and I want money to come through my business. Perfectly fine to want that. All right. But it's not coming in that way. Instead, people are giving me money over here, and I don't want it this way. I want it that way. So when we have an experience where money is coming through one funnel, but we feel bad about it, what we're actually doing is shutting down the funnel for the other thing that we want. So what you want to start to do instead is focus on how, yes, I am abundant. Money is coming. It's coming this way. And I'm glad that it's coming this way. And you know what? It's really nice to know that I have a strong funnel coming this way. So even if it's a bad day with business, no problem. There's still money coming over here. I am abundant. I'm abundant. Money comes to me. When we look at the thing that's strongest, coming the strongest, and acknowledge it and appreciate it, now we're not putting any resistant energy into the mix, and we're allowing ourselves to feel truly abundant, which opens up the other funnel. And I'm saying this from experience, and I've talked about this before on my channel, which is that when I started doing this kind of work, my husband had made more money than me. Okay. And that really bugged me when I first started to get my business off the ground, which is I don't want to get it through him. I want to get it through my work. And that kind of gummed up the works a little bit. But when I started to open up and say, oh, I'm getting money from him, I'm getting money from him, I'm abundant through him, now the money through the business started to open up. And I know because that funnel is so strong, if at any time I want to turn him up, it's pretty easy. Okay. So that's a fun little game that you can play as well. Okay. I hope that that's helpful. When speaking money, I put a little thing on the top of the chat. Today's the last day, so I do have to mention that. We have the big abundance sale ends tonight. So I know I've been talking about this for a few weeks. There are 6 abundance programs that are on their lowest price of the year sale. They're only going to go on sale this week. They won't be on sale for one more year. If you're interested, you can go to the link in the description, or if you're on Instagram, the link is in the link tree in my bio, and you can see all of the programs that I have that are available. Right now, they're half off if you use the code GOLD at checkout. That's GOLD. Okay, so if you're having a situation, a lot of people struggle with feeling abundant when their circumstances aren't abundant, or if you're dealing with particular limiting blocks around attracting money into your life. Maybe you want, like I am Lily Rain, to attract money through the work that you're doing, or maybe you just want to attract money for doing nothing. Or I do have a lot of people that ask questions about attracting away their debt. If you want to get rid of debt through the law of attraction, there's something for all of those at that link. So go ahead and check that out. Again, that code expires tonight. So if you're interested, make sure to grab everything that you want, because it won't be on sale again for one more year. Ooh, put that away. Let's see what we got going on over here. Ellen Ames asks, hi, Andrea, why do you think we aren't educated on law of attraction principles right from birth? Wouldn't life be amazing if that was a system? Yeah. Well, we attract what we are. So my thoughts on that are, in this lifetime becoming aware of that principle. So we came in unaware of that principle. So we were born into a reality where we weren't taught that, and we had to discover it instead, I think is the drill. I do think as time is progressing, manifestation is now a very common concept. A lot of people at least understand what manifestation is. When I first started making videos on manifesting, if I told somebody that I taught people about the law of attraction, they looked confused. More often than not, they didn't know what it was. Today, I can't turn on the television without hearing about it. So, the beautiful thing about this is I think lots of kids today are growing up with this knowledge, at least a lot more than we did. We had to stumble through the dark side to get here. And what a journey it was, right? Nada Ma'am says, I have manifested money so easy. I just say money come to me all the time. A few days ago, I said it and got to sleep. In the morning, I got a message that I got 140 euros to my bank. No explanation why. Yes. Okay. So this is a really good example about doing nothing and it can just show up. A lot of people do believe that a lot of action needs to be taken in order to get money into the bank. But the more that you play with this principle of it can just come easily, you step into the awareness that it can come easily. And there's really no sense in working so hard when you can just get it dropped in your bank account like that, right? Exactly. Very good. Very good. All right. Again, today, guys, we're talking about do nothing, attract everything. I want you guys to do less. It's not that you can't take action, but really action should be for the purpose of fun. You should be able to get up every day and live your life the way you want to live it. You really can. You can make executive decisions on how you're going to run your day to day, having fun, knowing that things are just going to show up. The reason why people struggle with action is that they believe action is required to get the manifestation. And so they do a lot of things they don't actually want to be doing. And when you're doing things you don't actually want to be doing, what happens is you get frustrated, you get stressed out, and your vibration lowers. So all that action that you're taking is for nothing because you're acting from a place of feeling bad. And when you feel bad, you manifest, quote unquote, bad results. This is why action frequently gets in the way. You will be way more productive doing nothing than taking action that makes you feel bad. Way more productive. Okay? So a good example of this, managing your day versus letting it unfold. Okay, so this is one way that people kind of screw up the doing thing. And I've learned this one over and over again myself, and it's been very helpful for me in attracting more that I want and enjoying my life. All right. So before understanding about the law of attraction, I really felt that you had to manage your day. So you had to have a very clear idea about what you were going to do and when, and that it would be very smart to schedule everything and to have everything mapped out. You know, first I'm going to get up and I'm going to do my meditation, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. Okay. Now, I don't think there's a problem with having on paper some ideas of things that you would like to get done in a day, or even a sequence, or having appointments on the books. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I want you guys to understand is that at any point in time, you get to decide. And I don't want you guys to feel tethered to your appointments and to your prior engagements. This is where people often fall into problems, is that they have it written on the calendar, I'm going to do this at 2:00. And then they don't want to do it, but because it's on the calendar, they do it at 2:00. And again, like I just mentioned, you're way more productive doing nothing than doing something when you're in a bad mood. Okay, so as I've kind of worked with this principle myself, this is a very interesting thing that I see often happens within my work. So during the day-to-day, for me, is where these are the times where I generally have an idea of what I want to accomplish within a day. Maybe I want to record a couple things. Maybe I want to do a live. Maybe I want to have a meeting with somebody. But I have these ideas of how the day is going to go. And I've learned over time that it's really important to just let the day unfold. Sometimes what you had on paper is not a good idea to be doing. I've seen this plenty of times. So I saw it the other day. I had kind of a list of things I wanted to do, and I kind of got into that mode of just do. And I started to feel kind of crummy. And I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And the next thing that I was supposed to do, okay, was actually to come up with the idea for today's video. That was the next thing I was supposed to do. I had on the list, I'm going to come up with an idea for the next video, write out a general script. You guys know I always have notes. Okay, so that was the plan. I was going to write all that out. But I just wasn't feeling it for some reason. Wasn't feeling it. And I looked over, so there's a couch over there that you guys can't see. And over there were a few packages, Amazon packages and other packages, things that I had bought that I needed to return. And, you know, I could have returned them whenever, but for some reason, I really felt like returning them. I don't know if I just felt like slacking off at work or what, but I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to be here. I want to go return the packages. Didn't seem like the right time to do it, but it was calling me, so I went to do it. Okay. So I leave the house and it's a beautiful day out. And I'm like, well, this is actually kind of pleasant. Now I'm outside and it's gorgeous outside. And I get to the first place where I have to do some returns. And there's a bit of a line, but it's okay. So I get in the line and I pull up my phone to just kill time, as one often does when they are, waiting in line. They pull out their phone. And suddenly, boom, right into my mind came the idea for today's video. And so while I was sitting there in line, I was actually writing into my notepad, into my phone, the general outline for today's video. Do you see how that worked? Had I stayed home and just tried to make it happen and action my way through it, I probably would have sat here and put some ideas on paper and done a lot of work that didn't really gel. But just by leaving and letting the day unfold, the idea just came to me at the perfect time. And so this is something I want to point out to you, is that a lot of times you guys are out there trying to make a result happen. But if you just let your day unfold, in a weird way, it still gets done in a way that feels like it cost you no energy expenditure whatsoever. Okay, so I was just out screwing around, procrastinating, but that's what I wanted to do. And boom, the thing that it was that I wanted just came into my mind automatically. And I've seen this so many times that now I don't restrict myself. If I feel like I need to go somewhere or do something or go take a nap or whatever, I will go do those things because I know that's way more productive than banging my head against the keyboard. Because when I'm doing that, I'm in a lowered state and I get worse results. So when you guys are managing your day, again, I don't think there's a problem with having an idea of things that you want to accomplish in a given day. But remember, you're the one in charge. So if you need to cancel an appointment, or if you need to go make some returns, or you just want to check out for a while, or you want to be like Opulent Beauty and not work today and watch my videos, go ahead and do it, okay? Because that's going to put you in a higher state and things are just naturally going to work out for you, okay? Very important thing to understand. Z Faroki on Instagram says, hi, Andrea. Any tip on how to deal with being anxious or having anxiety about an outcome? It's like playing with fire. Well, use your anxiety. Okay, so people think that if there's anxiety, there's a problem. Anxiety is essentially a stop sign. Okay? Bad feelings are not the enemy, I guess is the point. So a lot of times when we're worried about something happening, oh, I shouldn't be worried about this. I want to stop worrying about this. This is da, 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 da. And you think that there's a problem, but really the worrying is just telling you, go do something else. That's all it's telling you. It's telling you you don't need to worry about it. That's why it's there. Okay? Usually when people feel the anxiety, they lean into it. Oh, I need to worry about it. No. Bad feelings are always stop signs. So the reason why I'm saying this was a big paradigm shift for me when I understood this, is it validates your feelings. If I feel anxiety, something that I want to manifest, I'm getting stressed out about it, that anxiety is telling me, oh yeah, you don't need to worry about this. Go do something else. And I use it as a directional cue rather than push against it. I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know. I don't need to worry about this. Okay? Don't get caught up in trying to make yourself stop having anxiety. Just realize that it's trying to direct you to do something else. So at any point in time that you guys have a negative feeling, ask yourself, okay, what is something right now that would be more fun or more enjoyable for me to go do? And just go do it. Okay? When you do that, the mind starts to attend to the more fun, more interesting thing, and your mind can't think of two things at the same time. Okay? You can't worry about the money coming and at the same time be really engrossed in a video game. They're two different things. So if you feel called to go do the video game, your mind is going to be over here having fun, your vibration's going to go up, and you become more in resonance with all the things that you want, including that thing that you had anxiety about. Okay? That's the big thing. Most people, oh, I gotta worry about it. No, it's a sign to just go do something else. I hope that's helpful. Oh, we got a super here. Thank you, Dominique. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super. Dominique says, I work as a supply high school teacher. I've worked a lot this week and feel exhausted. Do you think this could be blocking abundance coming in other ways, as I would prefer to be doing something else? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And don't feel bad about it. Okay. So I used to be a high school teacher. All right. So, and I understand, because some of you guys are in jobs where you got to be there at a certain time and you got to leave at a certain time. And I understand that just checking out and doing nothing today may not be particularly feasible in some of your experiences, and that's okay. What you want to do in this kind of a situation is where you can do less, because that will start to build momentum. Okay, so you don't have to go all full gangbusters and just quit your job and check out, okay? Instead, what you can start to do is, when you have an opportunity to do less, do less. Within your jobs, just at your job, one thing that I do recommend, if you feel like you have a lot that you have to do and it's blocking your abundance or it's blocking your ability to have the things that you want, what I would recommend is, when we talked about the king and the queen, take on that energy at your job. Move a little bit slower. Don't rush around. Take your time, okay? Because that will start to put out the message that I move at my own pace and things can come to me. And the more that starts to work for you, the more you're going to start to do that more and more, and the more opportunities that you'll be given to do less. Okay? So just start to act like somebody who has to do less and can attract more in your current environment. That energy will start to ramp up. And you may end up in a situation like myself, where I used to be a high school teacher and now I do whatever the heck I want all day. Okay, but I worked through that energy, and I recommend for everybody that they do the same, because there's no reason that you guys need to be exhausted every day. Okay. All right, again, today, guys, we're talking about do nothing and attract everything. If you have not yet, please make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube, on Facebook. Also, follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I do lives like this every week, sometimes 2 times a week. This week, only once. But yeah, I'm here at least once a week, and I love it when you guys show up. Love talking to you guys. So make sure to follow and hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I go live, especially on days like today when I mix it up and start 3 hours late. What else? Oh, if you haven't yet, please make sure to take my manifesting test. I know a lot of you have taken it, but if you haven't yet, it's free. It's only 5 minutes. And it's a way for you to prove to yourself that you really are the creator of your reality. So it's a quick test where you put something out and watch it come back. And to take that test, you can go to manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. The link should be in the description. I'm sure Mary's going to drop it into the chat. On Instagram, the link is in the link tree in my bio. But manifestingtest.com is the direct link. You know, I always put in the script that I'm going to mention to subscribe really early, and then I just never do. Half hour in, there we go. But you know what? If you've been watching for a half hour and you haven't yet subscribed, I mean, you know, time to make a commitment, right? All right. Again, today we're talking about do nothing, attract everything. Okay. Here's another thing. And this is, I'm going to give a great example that you guys can use in lots of different applications. Problems in your life can and will solve themselves if you simply let it go, put it away, and go raise your vibration. Okay? When you align with a problem, any kind of problem, it just means that your vibration has lowered. That's it. And this is not a value judgment on any of you, because we all run into problems, myself included. We all run into problems because our vibration is always in flux. And so when your vibration starts to dip, maybe you start feeling anxious or stressed or sad or tired or whatever, you will start to attract to yourself different kinds of problems. All right. So the thing to understand is the problem is a lot like that feeling of anxiety. When a problem shows up in your reality, it is a stop sign, okay? It is not a sign that you really need to get to work and fix this problem. No. It is a stop sign. Problems are stop signs. It means that what you're doing right now, you need to put down and go do something else, because you have aligned in a reality where you're miscreating through a lowered vibration. So it is a sign to stop and go do something else and raise your vibration. When you do this, the problem will solve itself. You do not have to fix the problem. Now, what most people do is that when they attract a problem, they think they need to do something and go fix the problem. So they hang in there in that vibration that they're currently at, where they created the problem, and now they start to create more problems. They can't fix the thing, or it's going to cost more money than they thought, or the guy can't come out till next Tuesday, and it just gets worse. So what you want to do whenever you encounter a problem is, again, you want to focus on it as a stop sign. It's a stop sign. Okay. Now, if someone's having a heart attack, I don't mean don't call 911. Okay. If someone's lost a limb, we can call the ambulance. I will say this though. If you don't attend to problems and get all in them on the little things, you're not going to get in these big, hairy, scary, emergency, crazy situations. Okay. So on the smaller level, when problems come up that you can technically ignore, I recommend that you do. So I see this all the time in my business. And so this is a great business application. I'm sure those of you who run your own businesses may have seen the same thing. But it's very helpful. So, I sell things. So you guys know we got this abundance sale going on. And sometimes people write in because maybe the link didn't work for them, or they got lost in their email, or something happened where they didn't get what it was that they wanted. And so they're writing in, they got a question, or they need some assistance with something. Okay. Now, a lot of times Mary does a lot of the heavy lifting with that. So thank you, Mary. Mary answers a lot of the questions. But once in a while, there's something that Mary can't answer, or she needs to run past me, or somebody else can't help out with it. And so there's something that may come to me. And maybe I'll open up my email and I'll see it, and I'm out on the road, or there's something going on and there's a problem. So a customer is having a problem, but it's not a good time for me to stop and deal with it. Okay. And I can notice that, okay, I wasn't in the best of moods, or something was going on, and now I got this email with a problem. Now, in the past, when I was younger and I didn't understand this concept as well, if something like this would happen, I would try to solve the problem for the person immediately. I would stop everything that I'm doing to try and solve that problem, even if I was stressed out, even if it wasn't the right time. And what I noticed over time is that never seemed to work. The problem got worse, or the person didn't get a resolution, or maybe they even became combative. But now, if that same situation happens, my default understanding is, okay, I'm going to get to that when I'm in a good place. I'm going to go do the things that I need to do. And when I'm ready, I will sit down and take care of it. And so when I feel in the right mood to check my email or to do those types of things, I will sit down to do it. And more often than not, the problem has solved itself. Okay? So the person found the link, or they were able to get it to work, and it didn't require any intervention from me at all. And I see this across all different types of things. If I try to handle the problem right away, I make the problem worse. But if I say, you know what, I'll come back to this when I'm ready, and I go live my life and do the things I want to do, when I come back and I'm ready to do it, well, the website's fixed now. It's back up and running. This is working again. This is working again. It's the easiest way to solve problems. Remember, you align with a problem. So in order to align with the solution, you have to get out of alignment with the problem, which means you need to get away from it. Get away from it and get in a better mood. This is an excellent way to do nothing and get everything. You do not need to be focusing on fixing problems. Again, people will ask me, well, what if someone lost a limb? I'm not supposed to deal with that. Of course, if there's a big emergency and you got to do something, you got to do what you got to do, right? But if you are consistently not playing this game of messing around with problems, guess what? You're not going to attract as many of them. And they're not going to ramp up to that level where the real 5 alarm fires come. Okay? So it's very important that you guys let the little things solve themselves so it doesn't start to snowball into bigger problems. I hope that that makes sense. Ooh, we got another super here. Hello, Louise. Thank you so much. Louise says, I hope to manifest changes in other people's Thursday schedules. Otherwise, it will be difficult to be in your Thursday lives now that you changed the time. Thanks as always. Well, Sunday, I'll be here at the usual time, Louise. And this is just experimental, so we'll see. We'll see if I like it. But thank you for the super. Appreciate you. Ooh, Ken says, what advice would you give to someone who is about to give up on manifesting and life in general? Ooh. I'd say, okay, the manifesting, yeah. I mean, if you're feeling like that, give up on the manifesting. And instead of giving up on life, just focus on, stop trying to make different things fall into life and just focus on how can I have the best life that I can right now. When we get to this kind of place, we've kind of wandered down into that place where we're not feeling so great about things. It's not working. This isn't working. This isn't working. And when we're in that state, we can start to project outwards too much. Okay, so a high vibration is very much a present focused vibration. When our vibration starts to lower, we become more fragmented and we tend to think more in terms of the future or the past. So we start worrying about what's going to come in the future or what happened in the past rather than staying present. So I'm pointing this out because this is another thing that if you're in a lowered state, I always talk about just doing what gives you relief right now. That's the great situation, the great thing that you want to be doing because it'll help raise your vibration. But the other thing is bring your focus to the present. Okay? Because in the present moment, everything is okay. In the present moment, we're sitting here having a conversation. In the present moment, I have shelter or I have food. And in the present moment, I'm breathing. In the present moment, everything is okay. The problems that we're focusing on exist in the future or in the past. That's the problem. So our awareness is getting outside of ourselves. So this is another great thing that you guys can do to help raise your vibration is when you start to feel like it's not working, bring your awareness back to the present moment. What's going on right now? I've had food, I've got shelter today, there's some sunshine outside, I got a place to sit. In this moment, everything is okay. Now, when we do that, what we're saying is, I am fine. I'm okay as I am. Life is working out for me. I am supported in this moment. And so that starts to replicate and life will start to reinforce that. When we look at the manifestation isn't coming, now I'm focused on things are not working. They're not working. They're not working. And so reality starts to look worse, worse, worse. So that's another thing that you can do to raise your vibration. Bring your awareness back to center. Okay. Good question. Laura Magic Spirit. Hi, Andrea. I also have an online business and a variety of products I thought my people in my niche need. I have cheap products and expensive ones, but no one buys just sometimes. Cheap versus expensive. It's not about the price. It's not about the price. I thought people in my niche need. I would focus in a situation like this on want. What would they want? Not what would they need, what would they want? Want implies that they are abundant. Want implies that they have choices. Need implies that there is lack. Need implies that they're coming at it from a lowered state. And in a state like that, then we might be seeing why this price thing seems to matter. It's the interesting thing about business. Price doesn't really seem to matter. I too have cheaper products and more expensive ones. Often people buy the more expensive ones, which is the opposite of what you would think. The other thing, when you're focused on want, we're focused on building up this idea of improving or appreciation. So think about the people in your niche and what they want, and how, when you're marketing your products, how does this help them in their wants rather than their needs? Does that make sense? I hope that helps. The other thing is, when somebody buys, we don't want to say no one buys. We want to say people do buy. Okay. I have made sales. I have made sales. I have made sales, rather than I'm not selling. When you're focusing on the idea that I have made sales, now you are an expert in sales. So a lot of times people will go about, they have an online business and maybe they're only making a couple sales here or there, but they're saying, I don't make, and not realizing the magnitude of sales they've already made. And I'm saying this from experience because there was a time I did the same. Oh, I didn't make this much. I didn't make that much. I didn't make that much. And at some point I realized, I'm like, if I tally up everything I've actually sold quite a few things. Now I start to feel like, oh, I can sell. I can sell. I do it all the time. All right. So focus on what is working and what is selling, and when you have sold, so that you will attract more sales. It is a confidence game. I could teach people all kinds of marketing tricks, but at the end of the day, the reason why the products sell for me is because I know that I can sell products. That's it. Okay, so focus on it already working. It will work more. Every sale that you have is an indication that you are more and more of an expert in sales. Great question. ASMR Tingled Pink. Since negative situations are our past thoughts and feelings showing up, how do we make sure those don't show up when what we are working on manifesting are required? Oh, okay. Don't reject them. That's the big thing. Whenever we don't want something to show up, it will show up. So whenever you're like, don't come, don't come, don't come, it will come because the focus is on it. All right. So instead, when you find yourself pushing against something, like, it's all right if it comes. If it shows up, it's just an opportunity for me to practice reframing. Okay. I had a situation so this is kind of like this, but it's a similar situation. Of course, it's a gym analogy because I love the gym analogies. So I was at the gym the other day, and there's a piece of equipment that I want to use, and it's right over there. Okay. And right now I'm on the treadmill so I can see it. And I've only got like a couple more minutes on the treadmill before I want to go use that piece of equipment. All right. So the problem is, don't want anybody else go sit on that machine yet because I'm headed over there. Okay. So I don't want anyone to sit there. I don't want anyone to sit there. I don't want anyone to sit there. When I've done this in the past and I get off the treadmill, what happens? Somebody sits in the machine, right? So instead, I have to think of a reason why it's okay if somebody sits there, why it's okay if somebody shows up. So what I've trained myself to do is if I'm worried about somebody getting on a machine, I'll tell myself, well, it's okay if they get on the machine. If they get on the machine, I'm going to learn a different way to do this exercise, or maybe I'll find a different place in the gym to do this, or I'll find a new twist on my exercise routine that'll make it even better. So that person will just be shaking it up to make my routine better. And so should somebody sit there, I'm not stressed about it. But the funny thing is, whenever I do that, the machine stays open. So that's what I want you to do in a situation like this. When you see yourself, okay, I don't want these thoughts or these feelings to come up. You know what? If they do come up, that's great because it's just going to be an opportunity for me to practice reframing it, or it's just going to be an opportunity for me to practice getting back into alignment. It's going to be an opportunity for me to focus even more strongly, get better at the law of attraction. So it's okay if it shows up. It's okay if it shows up. When it's okay if it shows up, if it's an unwanted event, it won't happen. I hope that helps. Excellent question. All right, guys. Again, oh, a little super here. Thank you so much, Marty, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, again, today, guys, we're talking about do nothing, attract everything. For money in specific, this one I like. This is with all things. But a lot of people come to me, a lot of people want to know how to attract money. I would say that's like the number one thing people are most interested in. That's not to say that's what you specifically are interested in, but most people tend to have money related questions. So this one is one I'm going to relate directly to money. People are so tangled up about how to get money. Okay, I got to work for it. I got to get a promotion. I got to make more sales. No, okay. You attract through your vibration, not through your action. Okay? So as your consciousness evolves into higher states of expectation, money will just start to show up without any effort whatsoever. And so I had a question last week from a viewer who had found a place that she wanted to move into. And the place was way more expensive than what she was currently making money for. Okay, and she didn't want to work more, but she wanted the house. And she asked me what my suggestion was for that. And the suggestion that I gave, and it's kind of a ballsy suggestion, but it works, is just go get into the house. Because if you just go get into the house, your income is probably just going to go up, or money is just going to show up. And I know this from experience. So this is something that I played with a lot with abundance. And so I do recommend that you guys play with it too, because it's a really great way to start to do less and attract more money, is to simply get more into the vibration of being somebody who has opulence or who has luxury or who has the things that they want. Okay, so before I knew about the law of attraction, I said no to everything. If there was clothing that I wanted, it was too expensive, I'm not going to buy it. If there was a car that I wanted to drive, that's a waste of money, I'm not going to spend the money on that. All right. So that was the attitude that I used to have when I was in more of a lack mindset. As I learned about the law of attraction and specifically about abundance, I started to understand that you need to act as if, and you need to start allowing yourself to have the things that you want. And so it started out with small things. The example that I usually give is it started out in the grocery store. So instead of buying like the 50-cent can of peas, I could buy the name brand canned of peas for $1.19. Wow. But like getting the nicer stuff, the stuff that I actually wanted. And what I've seen has happened is that the more I just get something, don't worry about the extra 69 cents where that's going to come up. Just get the thing that I want. Now, magically, literally, I start to attract more money to enable me to continue to do this. And so I really noticed it a lot with cars. So if you get a nice car, a lot of people are thinking, oh, how am I going to come up with a down payment? How am I going to make that extra payment? That payment's so much higher than my current payment. And people will worry about how am I going to get the money to get the car? But I realized way back, if I just get the car, now I'm driving around in this nicer car, and I feel like the kind of woman that drives a nicer car. I drive a nicer car. I have this kind of money. And guess what? Because I'm having that feeling, more money shows up to support that. To the point where now I just attract money. It's really quite ridiculous. All right. So I told you guys that I got the Porsche not that long ago. And I was driving it the other day. And when I drive this car, I mean, I feel like I have money. I'm like, oh, yeah, really done well for myself. Look at me, I'm good at attracting money. Da, 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 da. And I stop at a red light somewhere and pull out my phone, which I guess I shouldn't be doing. But I check my email in that moment, and it was crazy because it was right during that time where I was feeling all that appreciation for being so abundant that a whole mess of sales came in to my website with no work from me whatsoever. I was out driving my fancy car, feeling wealthy, and boom, money just dropped into my lap. And so that kind of stuff happens to me all the time. Okay, I came home from being out and about, same situation. This was yesterday. Came home in the car, loving it. Da, da, da. I feel so abundant in my lovely car, and my husband's in here, and he wants to talk to me about this big sale that he made that's going to bring in so much money. I had to do nothing but just sit there and enjoy and appreciate that vibration of feeling abundant, and more money came to me. So, the point that I'm putting in here is I don't want you guys to put the cart before the horse. Do whatever you can do to feel abundant. That's what's going to draw the money to you. Stop trying to go out and work your way to the abundance, because when you try to go out and work your way to the abundance, 9 times out of 10, you're lowering your vibration, doing things you don't want to do, which actually makes you feel less abundant, which pushes the money away. It is quite ridiculous how easy it is to attract money. It really is quite ridiculous, but you have to be willing to stop trying to work for it and instead allow yourself to just be in that essence. Do things that make you feel abundant, appreciate the abundance that you have, and money will simply be magnetized to you because it's a vibration that's bringing it to you, not an action. Okay? Important thing to understand. And remember at all times. Sexy Flexi. I like that name. Hey, Andrea, thanks for saying hello to me. I couldn't believe it. Can you give a pointer or two about how to start journaling, please? Every time I take out my little book, I start writing a 5-point to-do list. Well, there's many ways to journal. I mean, whatever is fun. There's no correct way to do it. With all manifesting techniques, the whole point of doing it is to have fun. All right. So when you guys are selecting manifestation techniques to do, I would be asking myself, does this sound like fun? Is this an exciting thing for me to be doing? If journaling feels that way, then yes, I would lean into that. If it feels like a chore or stressful, I would pick something different or just go out and have a good day and see what happens. All right. But as for how to start journaling, I mean, when I choose to journal, which isn't all the time, one of my favorite things to do is to do an ask formation and answer it. So you could try this out if you're interested. So let's say there's something that you want to attract. You want to attract $10,000. Okay. That's what you want. Just write down, how might I attract $10,000? Question mark. Okay. How would $10,000 come to me? Question mark. And sit with that question for a minute and then just write out possible answers to that question. I like doing this because what it gets your mind to do is open up to the possibility. Well, it might come as a rebate check. I might get a promotion. I might receive an inheritance. I might make that extra sale at work. Who knows? There might just show up in my bank account for no good reason whatsoever. And you have all these little reasons why it might come to you. And so I like this one because for the dreams that you guys have that are big ones, the biggest issue that people have with manifesting is that they don't believe that it could happen, or they think it has to happen in one specific way. And so they get this very strong tunnel vision and they start to feel very resistant. Well, it's not going to come through the promotion. They would never give me that much money. And they start to think of reasons why it won't work. So when I journal, this is one of my more favorite things to do because it allows me to rehearse possibility. It could come like this. 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 And now I'm more receptive to it coming through multiple avenues. So That's one I'd try out if it sounds like fun. If it sounds boring to you, don't do it. Banji on Instagram asks, or says, "Hi, hey Andrea, I'm in a difficult place right now. Everything around me is falling apart, from my soccer to creative, and I'm stuck in a toxic environment with the family who emotionally abuse me, especially since I have autism." Ooh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Banji. The one thing that's sticking out to me here, stuck in a toxic environment with family. Um, yeah, I know it's hard for you guys if you've got toxic family members around or you've got difficult relationships that are in your life. It's hard to imagine moving away from them, but it's really for the best. Okay, so if you've identified that this situation is literally abusive, when you continue to stay in that environment, you continue to re-traumatize yourself. You understand? So if you have this expectation that this person's going to be abusive towards me, every time you get around that person, that's what's going to happen. And so you can do a lot of the raising of your vibration, you can do a lot of healing, you can do a lot of therapy, you can do all kinds of stuff, but because you're still engaging in that interaction, you continue to be re-traumatized. Okay? So, and I say this from experience, I had to detach from my parents fully. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but it was something I had to do because I realized every time I'm around them, we go down the toilet again. And I'm mentioning this because I know a lot of people are dealing with this. You have family or friends or people that you're afraid to dissociate from. Maybe you're not sure how you're going to find some place to live, or you're not sure what's going to come next. But you will find that taking a bet on yourself is going to pan out better. So if I were in this situation, I would be looking, how do I get out of this environment? I'd make that priority number one. I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to take care of it because this is what's good for me. And notice that when you do that, you're loving yourself. Okay. And the more that you love yourself, the more that reinforces within yourself to the point where you're going to realize that you don't need to be in these types of toxic entanglements with people. I know it's challenging, especially when you guys are younger, to get away or to think that you can do it, but is instrumental for me. And I know quite a few people that it's been instrumental for them to get away from those things. So consider it. Consider it for sure. Good luck. Oh, you're gonna get the deposit to secure the apartment? All right, let's go do it. Go do it. Good luck, opulent beauty. Oh, the power of now you guys are talking about. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Good recommendation. Great book. ASMR. You never liked journaling, but you recently bought a notebook and colorful gel pens that you love writing with. So I write statements when I feel drawn to do so. Exactly. That's how you do it. You have fun with it. Don't make your manifestation techniques things that you need to do, because that's taking action from a place that isn't going to work. That's why people get really frustrated with manifestation techniques. It doesn't work. I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. If you're doing it from a place of being stressed out, it's not going to work. Do it when you want to. Okay? That's the big trick. That's the only time it's going to work. Anime VS, you didn't see the rubber ducks for months, and then the past year you've seen more rubber ducks than you've ever seen in my life. Yeah, that test will do it to you. I see ducks everywhere now. I mean, all the time. I see ducks everywhere. So sorry if you didn't want so many ducks in your life. I didn't think that one through. I'm like, maybe people don't want to see this many ducks. All right, another reminder, guys, before I forget, tonight it closes. The abundance sale will be over. So, if you wanted to check and see which packages I have on sale, there are 6 of them for a variety of different topics. A lot of people struggle with limitations, limiting beliefs around money, or they struggle to think abundantly because of their current circumstances. A lot of people want to attract more money into their job or business, or just attract money for funsies and not have to work for it at all. And quite a few people write into me wanting to know how to manifest their debt away. So I do have a number of programs to apply to all of those. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out that abundance sale. It does close tonight. These packages are on their lowest price of the year sale, and they will not be on sale again for 1 more year. So the link is in the description. I'm sure Mary's dropped it into the chat. If you're on Instagram, the link tree is in my bio. And in addition to that, again, please remember to take the manifesting test. So if you would like to have that experience of putting something out and watching it come back for free, it's a free 5-minute test. You can take that test at manifestingtest.com. If you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe, like the video, follow, all that good stuff, notifications. I do plan on being back on Sunday, and the plan is to be back at the usual time for that day, which is 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so if you're around and you want to join, please come along and we'll talk some more. But that is going to do it for today's live. Thanks so much for the supers, for all your questions, all that good stuff. And I look forward to seeing